Hi guys, Tom from Track Capital here. Hope you're all well. Just a quick video today, just to introduce our latest development, Belgrave, which is located in Sheffield. So currently in the pre-launch phase, so we will be officially launching it to market next week. But this is a first look at this new development. So I'm going to try and keep the video fairly brief, but also informative as well. Obviously, any questions, feel free to reach out and contact the team afterwards. I'll be happy to discuss it in further detail. So just to give you a brief overview. So the development, Belgrave, is located in the heart of Sheffield city centre. So located on Campo Lane, which anyone that knows Sheffield will know that's right by the cathedral. Very, very well placed, S1 postcode, so the most central part of the city. Now, it is an existing building, which is being refurbished and converted into apartments. So I will go on to Google Maps later and show you the actual video. But you can see here, this is obviously what it's going to look like once it's all finished and done. So to give you a brief overview, so there's 108 apartments in total, made up of studios, 1 and 2 bedrooms. Really, really nice finish in these apartments, so very, very high spec. We'll come on to the developer shortly, but they've got a history of delivering to a very high quality. So you are going to be looking at integrated appliances, fridge, freezers, washer, dryers, hobs, ovens, all built in, ready to go. Again, you can see nice big double bedroom. So again, I'll show you the floor plans. You can see, that it's not just the CGIs, it genuinely will look like this, very, very close, very good, accurate representation there. Again, really nice, smart finish in the bathroom. Location-wise, again, you can see just on the map, so it is located right in the city centre. Again, I will go into that in a little bit more detail for you. Now, in terms of Sheffield as a city, so obviously that was a brief overview in terms of the development, but in terms of the actual city and what it's at, in terms of what it's offering. So I'll be honest, it's one of my favourite cities in the UK. I am slightly biased because I am from here originally. So, it's one that I'm very, very enthusiastic about in terms of this particular development. It's one where I feel like Sheffield over recent years has seemed to be left behind, but we're certainly, putting the foot down on the gas and, looking to bring it back up to speed with the likes of Manchester and Liverpool, and with the mass regeneration which is happening here and developers starting to invest real money into the city. We're going to be certainly looking to catch up with Manchester and Liverpool and what they've done, and obviously repeat what they've done over the last, 5 years or so, or even 10 years, for even longer. So I'm sure a lot of you know, Sheffield has 2 universities. So you have the University of Sheffield, which is your main one in the city, in fairness. So it's a health and medical university. So you get a lot of overseas students coming over to study there, obviously learn to be doctors, dentists, opticians, this kind of thing. I believe they also teach for aerodynamics as well, aerospace engineering, should I say. So yeah, there's certainly a lot in terms of what's going on for that particular university, and like I said, very, very popular with overseas students. Around 30,000 students study at that particular university, and then you've also got Hallam University as well. So again, very, very good university. Again, around 30,000 students which actually study there. So, a great amount of students in the city. And, with Sheffield having one of the highest retention rates in the UK for students which come to university in Sheffield and then stay here, they're going to need the, high level quality accommodation for them to live in once they do graduate, and they're wanting that better property. It's also worth noting as well that the University of Sheffield is also a red brick university as well. So yeah, very desirable, one of the top universities in the country. A couple of stats for you as well, just to look down here. So you've got 62,000 people is the estimated population growth by 2034. That's come from Sheffield City Council. Centric, they're looking at 11.3% rental growth by 2027. So over the next 2 and a bit years. 33,000 of new jobs being created by 2041. And 10,000 international students attend the University of Sheffield each year, which obviously ties in with what I've just said about the fact of being a medical university and a lot of overseas students coming to study here. Okay. This obviously ties in with what I was just saying a moment ago in terms of the universities and also obviously the market and what's happening there. So Savills have actually forecasted for Sheffield and Yorkshire to project or to grow in value by 28.2% over the next 5 years, making it only second for the highest growth in the UK after Manchester, which is 28.8%. So only slightly below that. But again, there's an awful lot of regeneration, which I will come on to, which is happening in the city, which is obviously going to be one of the major factors in the growth that we're going to be seeing in the city. Again, quite a lot to go through here. I'm not going to go through it all now, but you can see obviously sort of the highlights. There's 15.5 billion per annum. It is what Sheffield contributes to the economy year on year. And you can also go down. I'll let you obviously read this a little bit more. So it discusses the plans of obviously what they're looking to do to increase that even further. So a couple of the regeneration bits that I was mentioning. So this is something which is actually already underway. So you've got the renewal action plan. So a 1.7 billion scheme following on from the pandemic, where they're basically trying to boost Sheffield's economy even further. And like I said, bring it back up to speed in terms of where Manchester and Liverpool are currently at. Like I said, it's one of the major cities in the UK. And, it definitely needs to be up there in terms of the economic boost and growth that we can give the UK. So on top of that, so basically around this, so you've got a number of schemes which are boosting the businesses, obviously creating more jobs, also doing basically a rejuvenation of the city centre. So I feel like it's been left to sit by itself basically over the last sort of 10 years or so. But there's a lot of money which is now being spent to bring it back up to speed and obviously make it a place that you want to go and visit and where businesses can thrive. So you can see here actually that we've already started. So £470 million investment is going on to that in terms of redefining the city centre and the public space there. Phase 2, obviously, as you can see there, is currently underway. Education, also I've just touched on that in terms of the universities, but you can obviously, again, you can read up on this a little bit more in terms of what the universities offer and they bring. As I said, 30,000 students studying at each university. The University of Sheffield, 13th best university in the UK, according to the Times Higher Education. So, like I said, really great city in terms of the universities. The developer, so DBG, so they are a very well known and established developer, and they've completed on a number of previous developments. They've got a track record spanning over 30 years. We do have a developer profile, which, if you reach out to the team and you want further information on them, we can certainly get that over to you. So that's not a problem. Yeah, okay, so that's development. So if I come on to here, so this is the actual building itself. I'll just go in here. So this is the exact building. So as I said, it's an existing building at the moment, which is being redeveloped, obviously converted into apartments. Now, just to give you an understanding and try and get your bearings. So for those of you who do know Sheffield, this will obviously make a lot of sense. For those that don't, I will try and make this make as much sense as possible. So as you can see, Sheffield Cathedral is right there. Now, if you speak to people in Sheffield and you say, where is the most central part of the city, they're going to pretty much pinpoint the cathedral as being the main focal point. So S1 postcode, right next to Campo Lane, which is where we are situated, but literally, what's that, about 100 yards away from the cathedral. So very, very central position. Now, in terms of what this means for you, in terms of what's around there, what's surrounding the area. So Campo Lane itself is actually really quite a lovely street. So you do have, obviously, got the cathedral there for starters, which is an impressive building in itself. But it's also quite a quirky area as well. So you do have a lot of independent cafes and bars on here, or restaurants, should I say, more for Campo Lane, which is really quite nice. We'll see if this loads and catches up. So quite a nice place, on a Saturday or Sunday morning, come and grab a bite to eat on here, or go for some breakfast. So see if we can try and take you down the streets without jumping too fast. But a number of businesses which operate on here as well. So you've got a couple of estate agents which are based on here, Belvoir being one of them. Another one further down, you've got Reed's Range, which is there. Again, another local estate agent. And then you've got a really quite a nice couple of coffee shops as well, which is just down here, a couple of restaurants. And then I'm pretty sure it's this way in terms of where Couch is. I'm going the right way. Yeah, Couch is here. So this is quite a nice coffee shop I've been in myself personally. But I've taken the missus out for a bite to eat on a Saturday morning. Go and get a coffee and some food. So yeah, really quite nice. But yeah, there's loads, which is, you know, on Campo Lane, you know, quite a long road. But in terms of also what's around it, so you can literally head up here and then you're going to go onto West Street. So bearing in mind, I'll just put into context. So where our development is there, West Street is here. So West Street, this is your most popular location in terms of the nightlife, you know, bars, cafes, shops, restaurants, they're all the way along here. And West Street is a huge road that literally runs from one side of the city centre all the way to the other, which is up here, which you can see. And then once you get to the end of the road, this is where Sheffield University is situated. So again, the quickest way though to get to where our site is, to where the university's here, you would literally come back down this road and you're back down to Campo Lane. So you can go straight down that road if you want to. It's about a minute, 2-minute drive. It's right on the doorstep, or if you don't mind walking, probably about a 10-15-minute walk up to the university. But going back to West Street, so like I said, this is your main street in terms of going out for food and drinks. Some really nice bars and restaurants on here. You've got like Bijou, for example, which is a really, really nice restaurant. Piccolino's, which is here as well. And like I said, a whole host of bars and restaurants all the way down. Bijou is around there. Yeah, that's Bijou. Really, really nice restaurant there. Again, very, very desirable. So if anyone that wants to go have some nice food, plenty of options down here. If I just drop you in, just try and show you a little bit. So yeah, basically just businesses, bars, cafes, shops, restaurants, all the way from one side all the way to the other. So yeah, this is basically your most central point. So if someone says that they're heading into town, going out into the city centre, this is where they're coming to, all the way along here. So on both sides, you know, it's great. And again, great for university students as well. You know, some really great places to go around here. And again, you know, you can go off down side roads and more bars and pubs and cafes and you know, and eateries for you to go to. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a good idea in terms of the location and how central you are. Just load back up. So Devonshire Green, really nice bit of green area in the city. This is where they used to host tram lines. So not so anymore, but they do also have some events on here. It's quite a popular, again, central point in the city where they do host events around here. Just going back to the development again, just to try and put it into context for you. So you've also got the Crucible as well, famous for its snooker, which is again just on doorstep. So our development's there. The Crucible, again, probably about 10-minute walk, not too far away at all. And then just beyond that, Sheffield Hallam University, so the other major university in the city. And then as you can see from next to it, you've got the Sheffield train station as well, which is here. And also this is the main station in Sheffield. This will connect you to London, Manchester, Leeds, York, you know, wherever you want to go. This is the main station where you'll be able to do this from. So yeah, that should hopefully give you a good overview in terms of the city. Now, going into sort of the more details or delicate details for the development in terms of sort of prices and, you know, forecast returns, you know, these kind of things, just to kind of delve into that for you. So to give you an overview of prices, we've got 1-bedrooms which are starting from around the 160, 170 mark, depending on which floor you want to be on. That's again, obviously, before we look at, you know, this one here, unit 421 that I've selected is on the second floor, 1-bedroom. 484 square feet, so really good size, priced at 168,904. Before we look at any potential discounts, again, you know, if this is something which is of interest to yourself, come to us, you know, reach out to the team. More than happy to have a conversation, and obviously we can speak to the developer, see if there's something we can do on that price for you. Again, especially, you know, before we actually do the official launch to market, and I'm sure the developer will be open to getting sort of pre-reservations in before we do the launch. So if you do want to get in, first come, first served, and also get a pick of the best apartments, then, you know, I would advise doing so sooner rather than later. 2-bedrooms, they're going to be starting from around 220,000, 220, 230,000. again, before we look at potential discount on those, and again, dependent on the size and position within the block. So it should give you a good idea. Now, to give you an overview on the financials, so I should also mention as well, actually, before we go into this, that this is one of the few developments in Sheffield which does allow short-term lets. So, for anyone that has got experience in short-term lets, it is a great way to boost your returns, boost the income, the actual monetary income that you're going to be getting, but also boost your yield as well. So something which, if you can do it, I would very much advise to do so. Now, a company that we work with called My Property Host, they have actually given us the projected figures. So actually, before I go into that, I will just show you, see if I can find it for you. 1 second. My Property Host are a short-term let specialist. So they have given us the figures. They would manage the property for you. So it's a completely hands-off investment. But you can see, based on the figures, this is based on 80% occupancy, which is the figures which I've based myself off. £87 per month for a 1-bedroom, 71 studio, 123 per night for the 2-bedroom. So this is, and I will go through this in more detail for you shortly, but this is what we're basing the figures off. My Property Host, they are experts in the market when it comes to short-term lets. So and one thing they typically do is they actually project slightly lower rates per night in order to boost the actual occupancy rate. So something which is very, very good to ensure that obviously you're getting as much occupancy as possible, and again keep that monetary income high. Obviously, you don't have to go down this road. You can go down the normal AST route where you have a tenant in place for a fixed 12-month contract. Obviously, that's absolutely fine should you wish to do so. No issues with that. However, in terms of purpose, in terms of maximizing your returns, the short-term let route is one that I would highly recommend. And again, we're more than happy to discuss this further. So just reach out to the team if you have any questions. We can also put you in contact with My Property Host if need be, if you do have questions for them as well. They're more than happy to take a call and answer any questions to go into this in further detail. Okay. So in terms of the actual financials, so you can see based on the 1-bedroom, £87 per night, your 80% occupancy is going to generate you £25,404. That's per annum, which is average monthly rent at £2,117. That's gross. So that's before we have any deductibles. So that's your gross income. Now, My Property Host charge 15% for their fully managed service. If you want to be advertised on Airbnb, which isn't always required, so My Property Host can sometimes achieve the occupancy without using an Airbnb website. If they do use it, then it's a 15%. And obviously for that purpose, I have added it on here. But if that's not needed, then obviously that is going to be a cost removed. And obviously in return, that will increase your rental income. Utility bills, we've done an estimate of £160 per month. Council tax I've put down at £120 per month. However, after you've owned the property for around approximately 4 months, if you have the property and you obviously, because with the short-term let model, you're effectively running it as a business. So after around 4 months, 3.5, 4 months, I believe it is, then you can actually apply for business rates for the council tax, in which case that would reduce £120 to zero. So that would be £120 extra in your pocket, which I'll show you what that does shortly, should we add that in. Ground rent, so no ground rent to pay. It's a 999-year lease. So, basically the same as a freehold property in the sense of, you've got a very, very long lease with no ground rent to pay. So no impact there at all from that. Service charge, very, very low. So there's no sort of on-site facilities within the building. Obviously, it's very central. It's close by to everything that your tenant could realistically want. So everything is on the doorstep for that. So without there being amenities in the block, that does keep your service charge nice and low, around £1.47 per square foot, which on this one, you're looking at 484 square foot. So that would be £59.29 per month for the service charge. So nice and low. There's no gyms, spas, saunas, anything like that in the building, which are costly to upkeep and run. So your monthly operating expenses are £982.06 per month. So in terms of the figures of what that does, so that would give you a total net income per annum of £13,619.34, which monthly is £1,134.95. So a very, very, very good return. Your net yield will be coming in at 8%. And if I mentioned obviously earlier about the council tax, if I change that to 0, your yield does increase to 9%, so it goes up by 1%, and obviously you've got an extra £120 in your pocket. Just move that. £120 in your pocket, which would give you £1,254.95 per month in terms of net rental income. So, yeah, really good returns here. You know that in terms of Sheffield, there isn't actually anything else like this in the city. So yeah, really makes it sort of a standalone development in terms of what it can offer for the short-term let aspect of this development. So yeah, again, any questions on this, or if you want to see the financials for a 2-bedroom or a studio, please just reach out and obviously we can get this over to you. But this is just to give you an idea and to give you context as well. So unit 4.21, if I just show you the floor plan, show you there. So that's this unit here. So corner unit, 1-bedroom apartment. Located there, really good size, apartment at 484 square feet. That's definitely on the larger size. Most 1-bedrooms average out around 400 to 425 square feet. When you're kind of looking at new build properties. So at 484, really good size, but nice big double bedroom, a bit of an entrance lobby as you come into the main living space, and then huge living area, kitchen, dining area, and also sitting area. So yeah, really nice, well designed. And you can see here, so the one here is on the second floor as well. So that's what they've done the financials for this 4.21. So the reason why I chose that one is if you're looking at it from an investment point of view, I prefer personally to try and get one of the entry-level apartments where you're not paying more money for the sake of only getting a fraction more rent. Because especially if you're going down the short-term let model, it's not going to make a difference whether you go for the ground floor or the top floor in terms of what the actual nightly income is going to be, or in terms of the nightly rates. So it's going to work out exactly the same. So my property hosts just work off the same rates up and down the building. So I personally don't see the benefit in paying £20,000 more for the higher floor units, for this particular model. But it's a case of each of their own. Obviously, the higher floor units do have their own value in terms of capital appreciation. Typically, you'll see slightly more. But, they're still, the ones on the sort of the second floor, third floor, still going to appreciate very, very well. It just comes down to what your preference is. But for me personally, I always like to go for entry level units where I can save my money, get a higher yield, and go about it that way. So that will be my personal preference. And again, it's first come, first served on these particular apartments. And if I just again show you, so this apartment that I just highlighted will be situated on the second floor on this part of the building here. But again, obviously, if you did want to go for a particular unit, then we can discuss and we can work out what's going to be better for yourself. One thing which I didn't mention before I wrap it up. So again, I did want to highlight this actually. So Kelham Island, this is also one of the most desirable places in Sheffield. Very, very popular, quirky area. I would, for those who, if you're an experienced investor, I imagine you probably looked at Manchester and also Liverpool. So this is the area that I would refer to sort of the Baltic Triangle type location. And also if you were to look maybe like the Ancoats location in Manchester or the Northern Quarter. So very quirky area. Again, an abundance of pubs, bars, restaurants all around this area, but also a lot of new build properties which have gone into reinvesting and regenerating this area over the sort of the last 10 years or so, maybe even slightly before that. But again, yeah, very, very good place to be. And again, you're only about, if you want to book it, probably about 15 minutes walk approximately into Kelham Island, or about a 2-minute drive. So yeah, really, really good spot. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So you've got a pretty good overview in terms of what the development is there. Obviously, again, any questions, please do reach out to us. More than happy to answer them. And if this is something of interest, I would highly advise getting in early whilst we're at the pre-launch phase. Obviously, we can take pre-reservations before we actually bring the site to market. So by the time it is launched, you've already picked out what the best apartment is for yourself. But yeah, look forward to hearing from you. Take care.